A movie where the two main characters never open their mouths to speak, yet never shut the hell up. We watched The Thief and the Cobbler. We're in defense of bad movies. Hey guys.
Hey.
How is it going?
I'm a little confused.
We finished the game. We're doing the podcast.
No, I know. But you were talking about a movie where characters never shut up. I was waiting for us to steal a cobbler. That's why I came here before. I thought we were going to go to a restaurant and steal some cobbler.
Steal some cobbler? That would be really good right now. Some peach cobbler?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought we were going to do. That's why I came here.
It is stone fruit season, so it's not too late. We can still do
the
that.
Thief and all that cobbler that he stole. Oh my gosh.
What a delicious premise for a movie.
Yeah. And there would be a character called Princess Yum Yum, because cobbler is delicious.
Oh my gosh.
But before we do that, let's go around the room. How's it going, Lauren?
It's going well.
Good. How's it going, Laura?
Good.
How's it going, Bobby?
We'll see.
Okay.
How's it going, Sam?
It's okay. I'm
all
okay.
Right.
We're going to start out with our first segment called, what's it called? Bad Movie Raps. Yay! That's where we have a rap session, chat about a movie, about a quote-unquote bad movie. In this case, it's going to be The Thief and the Cobbler, and it will last the entire podcast.
Oh, okay. All right.
So... let's get
Should we sing the 3 songs that they sing in the movie?
No, we should not.
The 3 randomly play songs.
Well, first,
We'll have someone else edit songs into it later.
Because it'll be too boring. We'll just need to get it done quickly. So...
I close my eyes and see his eyes, so soft and warm and clear.
I dream awake of holding her. I dream that she's right here.
I sense in all his silence.
This is your movie, right? You're
It
defending
is. I am. Before we get in that, let's tell people what the heck we're talking about. Let's do a 15-second movie wrap-up. In fact, not just any 15-second movie wrap-up. Let's do Laura's 15-second movie wrap-up.
Laura's 15-second musical wrap-up. That's right. It's gotta be a song.
So, go.
It's basically the bad version of Aladdin. So if you guys want to just fall asleep, I've done it. I think I did it 3 times with this movie. I had to rewind because I would go away and then come back oh my gosh, I missed something. So yeah, anyway, Aladdin, the bad version of it.
Okay.
That's my summary.
So Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar. I'll do props to Dan Castellaneta. It's hard to follow up on Robin Williams' work. And now we're going to do Lauren's...
Lauren's the one you're married to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now we're going to do Lauren's 15-second history wrap-up, where she gives us a little bit of history about this movie.
Yes, I have 15 seconds. This is terrible.
No, we won't make you do 15 seconds.
Oh, thank goodness.
But... you did some research on what this movie...
Trying to be succinct is what I'm hearing. It was a really interesting history. Sammy brought this table and told me the story, and I have, all of the internet giving me my information, so hopefully it's true. But, so Richard Williams was the creator, director, idealist on this movie. He did Who's Afraid of Roger Rabbit, Pink Panther, lots of different stuff from our childhoods that are brilliant. And he envisioned this movie for years. Had one of the records for a while, the longest production cycle for 30 years.
Wow.
He came up with it in the 60s and was trying to work on it, trying to privately fund it. He would take jobs just so he could pay for this movie and just was getting nowhere for so long until he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Then Warner Brothers agreed to produce it. And they had a set date for 1991 is the release date.
Before Aladdin.
Before Aladdin. And
Yeah.
surely, so they must have been, consecutively in production, but he was missing the deadline. They didn't think he'd get it done in time because he was a complete perfectionist. And there was a point I heard where he refused to use storyboards, so they would produce segments and then scrap them because they didn't work.
Oh boy.
And so he was missing the deadline, and Warner Brothers turned it over to just a completion bond company. And so they came in and fired him and hired a new guy, just get it done quickly and cheaply. And that's when they revamped so much of it. They cut out a bunch of stuff. They added the terrible songs, and they added, a lot of the characters were supposed to be silent through the whole movie, and then they added just unnecessary long narration and dialogue that does not fit. And it was sad, just this guy's brilliant vision just completely stolen from him.
And I didn't know any of this when I watched the movie. I watched it years ago. It was when it was fairly new. I think it maybe had just come out on VHS. And I'd seen Aladdin, loved Aladdin, was and totally enamored with that. And so I saw this thing, looked so much like Aladdin that I had to check it out. And I really liked it.
And at the time, it was marketed as Arabian Night, right?
Right.
Like, very clearly cashing in on Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I swear it was called The Thief and the Cobbler when I wrote it, but maybe it was like a live, die, repeat
The
type.
Allied Films version was called The Princess and the Cobbler, and then the Miramax version was Arabian Night.
Yeah, and then later they changed it to Thief and Cobbler.
Maybe it was a few more years after when it originally came out then that I watched it, because I know it was Thief and the Cobbler. And so I thought I loved the animation. The animation was fantastic. I thought it was really charming. I liked the, I will say, even at the time, I thought it was probably overkill, but I liked Jonathan Winter's performance as the thief. And I found it just very charming. I don't know that I rewatched it at the time, but when I rewatched it for this, I was less enthused by it, but I still totally intend on defending it.
Have you, just out of curiosity, has anyone watched the Recobbled cut that's
We
out there?
started watching it.
Yeah, we watched, it is on YouTube except for like maybe 3 segments.
Yeah, or you could download it on...
Oh, really? I will have to do
Okay,
that.
you put it together.
Yeah, it was a very different animal. It was really neat to watch, much more interesting. But yeah, parts were cut out on YouTube because of some of the Miramax footage was in there, and they pulled it.
Yeah, I'll have to do that later. But we did, so we'll be able to kind of compare and contrast in that a little bit. There was still, what was cool, there were still animatics and, interestingly enough, storyboards somehow in it. So yeah, that was cool. I really liked seeing that. But you didn't like the movie, Laura?
I had a lot of problems with it. I had a lot of problems with the princess's name being Yum Yum.
Unfortunately, no one has an authentic cultural name. They have all got crazy names.
It's just, it feels like it objectifies her a lot, like,
I will say she was extremely sexy.
Well, and the way that they drew her.
and
I
yummy.
mean, it was like big boobs and tiny waist, and
And she was even a strong character. Like,
she
smart
had
and...
very strong aspects to her. And if they had let's save it for later.
If they
had
that's fair.
toned it down, and,
As we learned from Gilbert and Sullivan's The Mikado, Yum Yum is a traditionally Japanese name.
Which was a surprise to hear.
Yeah.
Even in watching Mikado, I'm like, Yum Yum, that's not a real name. Oh, it was. Oh, okay. I guess that's a little less racist.
Oh, it really was a real name?
Oh, I thought you said it was.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was joking that it was already used in a. We've got a rogue cat wandering the studio, there were definitely problems with this movie.
Oh, you don't say it.
Yeah,
There were?
I will say that.
well, and the problem. Oh, sorry. Go
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, you go.
We're being way too polite.
No.
Lauren,
But a
you
lot
ignorant-
to like about the movie, and especially knowing the tragic history, it maybe made me a little more forgiving. But I mean, there's lots of neat stuff about the movie.
The animation is
gorgeous.
amazing until it goes into the very clearly hastily finished
Yes.
scenes where it suddenly turns into like the cheapest animated.
Slapdash.
where you
like-
need something interesting happening on screen the most.
Yeah. It's jarring. You're like, oh, this is a different movie.
And so you can see where the flaw was. Like, oh, you spent all this time on gorgeous animation. A little more story work and maybe more organized production would have saved everything.
That Escher chase scene that the thief and the cobbler get into is amazing.
Yeah, that's
a really
awesome. Yeah.
cool.
Like, all the patterns are really intense and beautiful.
And the War Machine
Yeah.
The War Machine, not
bananas,
at
War
all done
Machine.
with computers.
Yeah.
The hand drawing that must have gone into that was insane.
There's a it's in the recobbled version. There's at the very beginning. It's probably in the first YouTube video. He does like a 360. He does a like really weird camera angles through the Golden City or Baghdad. But it's insane that it's not computer animated.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so detailed. The camera is
Yeah,
so
I
fluid.
do,
Yeah.
They really well recreate all like these really Eastern tile patterns and like really intense. So yeah, it's all hand done. No one is computer recreating all these really specific patterns. It's so neat.
And you said he was trying to make the best animated
Yeah,
feature of all time.
and he called this movie his purpose for living. And it's
Poor
so
guy.
sad.
And that's so interesting that this is our second podcast in a row where a genius director.
I wrote that down. That
Yeah.
this is kind of an interesting follow-up episode to
Yeah.
Dune, and I wouldn't have thought it would have been. Like,
No,
when
yeah.
we started.
That was my immediate thought when we opened with exposition on just a nearly blank screen and our main character's talking like, oh no, more opening exposition. Tell us all about the spice.
We can start with how. Yeah. First, oh my god. So giving Tack a voice, I would say, is a really bad call. But making Matthew Broderick Tack's voice was really distracting and really terrible.
And did you hear the voice, or what you saw the voice that they gave him in the uncobbled, the recobbled version was he's all I love you, and then to enter it with a Matthew Broderick, change it with a Matthew Broderick voice. It's like, what are you doing?
And what a mistake in the Miramax, the theatrical version, Tack himself is narrating the story.
Yeah.
And that's such a mistake because Uncobbled, I guess the original was just your, omniscient narrator with the big story voice and long ago. And that's what you want for your epic myth.
What was I going to say? Damn it, I don't remember.
But you have moments where, so in the original version, the princess and Tack, one of their first meetings, she says, what's your name? And in the original one, he hands her a Tack, and she says, Tack, that's your name? Your name's Tack? And then in the theatrical version, as he's handing her a Tack, he says, Tack. And then she goes, Tack? Is that your name? Your name is Tack? And you're like, yeah, he just told you.
It sounds like you're
it's
mocking
really
him.
weird. Yeah.
Your name's Tack?
Did he say that, or was he handing, or was he just kind of like, I don't know what to say, so here's a Tack.
Right, because no one's mouth is actually moving, so they're not supposed to talk. We can't tell, is this internal monologue, or...
But there is that one scene where Tack goes, why can't I ever talk when I need to? Or whatever he says. It's the worst excuse for him not talking.
I did, like I said, I liked Jonathan Winters. I thought his bit was charming. However,
Really? Because I thought he was terrible.
It was awful.
I didn't think he was terrible. Oh,
You know what?
It's not his fault.
I hated
it's not
his
his
relationship. Like, I felt like there was I felt like the director or the storyteller, had this big vision between the two of them, the thief and the cobbler, because it's in the title. But there never was that moment where they ever, met. Like, it was always like the thief was following the cobbler and kind of, and there was never that, I don't know, it just never felt like it jived with the
they're
other
both
story.
catalysts of fate, obviously, and so they have an intrinsic destiny tied into each other, of course. But
I think even in the original vision, the plot is kind of a mess and kind of loosely cobbled together.
yeah.
But also it doesn't matter as much when you don't have a voiceover constantly trying to make sense of it and force it into a very conventional narrative where it's just insufferable and awful.
I did feel, though, back to Jonathan Winters, that I even wonder if he was shown the movie at all before, or if it was,
Certainly didn't
if
feel
they
like
gave
it.
him a VHS and a microphone and said,
what it
we're
feels
only
like.
going to play it once. You don't get to rewind and do anything. You get to play it once, say what you're going to say, because this needs to be on the shelf within a week.
And it's about as obnoxious as if someone last minute decided that Wile E. Coyote needed a voice over in a Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote cartoon and just had, someone just, do punch up as it was running, like you were saying. It's just...
And it was unending. It was just constant nattering from him. Every moment was, I'm going to talk just for whatever commentary I think
And
of.
none of the jokes landed?
No, they were all
literally
terrible.
none?
I don't know.
He's stitching me up like a boot. Sorry, kid. This boot was made for walking.
And the anachronistic... Oh, you still think it's funny now. And the anachronistic
I was
references...
laughing. Okay,
I just got this
that is
robe
bad.
dry cleaned.
They had invented dry clean. Like, I know it's a thing, and we all
mentioned
like
Churchill.
anachronism is fine, but it really was bothersome.
You know what my thought is too? I don't know how much of it was after Aladdin, because obviously it started well before Aladdin came out. After Aladdin, so I don't know.
Apparently, some animators on this ended up working on Aladdin.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Which is interesting.
But
And it must be getting around like what Disney is doing. Like everyone kind of would have an idea, and so
it's
how much of the slapdash was.
It's uncanny, and I don't know if it's like they're both kind of going for the same aesthetic, but Zigzag looks a lot like Jafar and the genie,
but blue, like blue, yeah. But I thought it was. My thought was that they're like, oh, Mork from Ork did a really good job, doing all this anachronistic weird stuff. For Aladdin, so we're going to get Mirth from Earth to do this movie, and it should be just fine. And Jonathan Winters is great, but he may not be as good at ad-libbing as Robin Williams.
Well, no, his entire role is ad-libbing, though.
That's true. And Robin Williams was probably shown a script before he recorded it.
And probably had done lots of coke, so... is it too soon? I'm sorry. We love him. We miss him. But just the... design of the movie, gorgeous as it is, there's lots of color, lots of shapes, lots of like visually sensory stuff. So to have the constant noise of the endless talk, like it was it's absolute like, sensory overload.
Shut the fuck up and let me take this in.
There's only one thing I can get overwhelmed by right now, has to be visual. Stop talking.
I didn't think the visuals were that great though. I was very underwhelmed by them, especially Tack's character, and by the fact that he changed colors halfway through.
He was in his Pleasantville outfit. He was in his grayscale, and he had to like discover his emotional core to start becoming in color.
They left out the training montage where he did it out in the sun and he got tan, and he became a really good whatever companion for Yum Yum.
Well, and then some of the scenes, it felt like they were drawn very like it was very sparse, the drawings, and then other ones there was a lot going on, and they looked different styles, and they also just looked very different in terms of the way that they were drawn. So I don't know, it didn't feel like it was like a flowy, and it felt very choppy.
And there were definitely intense moments of, here's a more normal looking scene, and then here's a scene where the perspective is all crazy because copying Eastern designs, like it's not just a perfect vanishing point. Like there's, the floors at the 90-degree angle. It was neat, but it was certainly what's happening? That
wasn't the part that bothered me. It was more like when the scenes changed, you could almost see like the storyboard just changing, like them moving it, and it was just.
I don't know that he was. I mean, I don't want to say he wasn't going for a visual continuity, but I don't think it mattered as much, like this room can be really ornate, this room could be white space, because like that's kind of the feeling I want to push through in this scene. Like I honestly thought of Fantasia a lot when I was watching it. It's more about the kind of the feel and the I don't want to say the emotion, but like it was very artsy.
That's something we read, and like a documentary and made a movie about this called what was it?
Persistence of Vision.
I
tried hunting it down.
Me too.
And he referred to it as Fantasia-like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, did you say you're allergic to cats, or you just?
Not a fan.
Oh, you are. Okay.
That's why they always target you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rogue cat has yet to be caught in the studio. So.
But I loved Tack's character design. I love that the tacks were his mouth. Like that was really neat.
Was very cute. The way he walked was the way everyone walked was amazing.
I thought everything was really fluid and detailed, and the perspective was really neat.
Yeah, and that's what I think. When I'm going to ultimately, my defense will be, it's not a great movie. It's worth watching for that. Mostly for that. Yeah, I'll say.
It's neat, and I think just the history is so fascinating that it's worth a view. Just
we're letting the theatrical cut like way off if we're talking that way.
Oh, that's fair. No, it's terribly flawed.
I will say this: if you're going to
watch flawed, you mean bad. It's straight up not good.
I do think people should watch it. Well, I'm torn though, because I think people should watch it. The YouTube one would be the way to watch it. The recobbled version. However,
it's interesting as a story to watch both. I mean, not as the story of the movie, but as the story of the production. To watch both.
But at the same time, the version we watched on Netflix was crisper and clearer. Yeah. The good parts. I don't know.
It's hard to say. It's really true that if I'm thinking about the recobbled version without all the dialogue, like that's a watchable movie. Maybe not great, but like I appreciate what you're doing. And yeah, you're right. If we're just talking strictly on the theatrical version, there's too much that's unbearable.
Oh, it's straight up a piece of shit. It's really bad.
I can't even say put it on mute, because then you miss the music cues, and that's important.
No.
No.
Put it on mute and put on your own soundtrack, and then that's the way to do
Okay,
it.
I guess.
And
But even so, the pictures, no, not really.
Well, obviously you're gonna skip the musical numbers entirely. Just we're gonna cut this 112-minute movie or hour 12-minute movie down to an hour. Yeah. Okay. I thought the third song was decent.
the best of the three, and
Oh,
the other
absolutely.
three were awful. And the third one is not good.
It's not. I don't know. My big problem with that is the best song was for the most inconsequential characters.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, we're gonna have these characters, give them a decent song, and then throw them away.
And the movie, I mean, when you're watching the movie feels like it forgets that it's a musical. I mean,
Oh, it's not even
it's
a
not a
musical.
musical.
Like,
Yeah.
it's, and they didn't take any lessons from Alan Menken. We don't know how to construct a musical. It's like 2 girl songs and then a comedy group song. There's no point to anything.
Not even like I guess it was an I Want song. Like, I want to show that I'm more than just a girl. But yeah, like,
Yeah, that horrible scene. They change it entirely. In the recobbled, much more sentence, but our first scene in the theatrical version, meeting Princess Yum Yum, is just, Nurse, I'm going to, in a really serious monologue, tell you all about my stuff. Like, here is immediately my whole driving force, and I'm going to sing a song about it. And
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to say.
The characters just aren't very interesting either. I don't think any of them are.
well, they're very simple.
They're very simple.
Well, and that's not a problem if they are simple, but if they gave them a little more depth, I think they would make them a little more interesting. Like introducing
maybe if
the
they didn't
connection
have-
between the thief and the cobbler.
I wanna go in-
I
I'm
want
okay with
something to bind them together. Like, I don't need it to be perfect, but I want something to have it where they're very similar. Right now, it feels like they're on very separate paths.
they are.
But
I don't think
you're
they should be
like
the title.
they're trying to like wean them together, but they're
Sure, in a different movie, they would have more interaction with each other. But like this, it makes sense that he came from Pink Panther because they are both that silent Marcel Marceau character, where it's and it feels a bit like a really long cartoon where there's these neat visual experiences and not much is happening character wise.
Yeah,
And
I think it would work with less stuff. I mean, I understand if you're gonna.
But if you're going to call it the thief and the cobbler, I want something to happen with the two characters that kind of relate to each other. They don't have to be together, but I want them to have more of a...
Well, they save the kingdom, Laura.
But
They
not
also
really,
they
not
also
the thief.
imperil the kingdom.
But they do it in a manner that, like, the thief does it in a manner that kind of everything he does goes unseen, which is I think is kind of a cool thing.
He's the one who throws the cobbler into Zigzag's way at the beginning.
Yeah.
The thief. He steals the golden balls. He triggers action all the way through, and then at the very end, the thief is the one who saves everyone. Like, he gets the balls back.
And if you're depending on which version you're watching, he might then spend several years in prison.
Unexplainedly.
Oh my gosh.
With a single...
With
Do
a-
we need justice that badly?
And not only that, but you write this, you couldn't have animated 5 cells of him doing something. It's got to be a still cell of him with the balls. That was absurd. It was literally like removing Poochie from the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon with a cell.
Can we
was
take
pulled
5
out.
seconds of work out of any of the musical numbers and just
Yes.
have them animate, like, bars going down over him or something?
Yeah, anything.
No, but okay, there is something to be said, I think, where if you have characters with incredibly simple motivations, not a ton going on character-wise, and then you have a voiceover constantly trying to explain their motivations, that does make it feel thinner. If
they were silent the whole time, you would be able to pick up on their observations or on their motivations.
the
but it
intent
wouldn't
would feel
be-
totally
He's
different.
driven solely by his need to steal. He really has a problem, guys. He's
He's a
clearly
kleptomaniac.
and it's going to get him killed, but in the meantime...
My favorite bit is where he steals from himself and is...
That was cute.
It was
I like
great.
that. Oh, look at this thing in my pocket. I'm gonna take it.
That one, I was impressed. The voiceover didn't do that.
Maybe they're like, hey guys, we got a really good joke here. Could you tell Jonathan to shut the hell up for just a moment?
There were a couple where they just let the thief do a little bit without having the inner monologue.
Constant nattering away.
Yeah.
I wrote so many down.
Oh,
And
hear them all.
and it makes him so much less likable. Like, if he's silent, he's mysterious and interesting. If he's talking the whole time, he's so impressed with himself. Like, he thinks he's so clever and all his crazy jokes.
He did, yeah.
Now, I don't, in case we're giving too much credence to the design and everything, and like, no, this is perfect, and it's all these other flaws, there's still like stuff in the design I have problems with. Why does the nurse have Frankenstein monster arms and super strength? That is very strange. The first time we meet
the nurse
the
look
princess's
like a
nurse. She's a little witch-like, but maybe she's just an old woman wearing her, hood and her cloak. But
Why
she's
would
got
you have Toni Collette voice her though?
Oh, that was weird too.
But
A weird voice, and
but she's got like a flesh-toned face, and she's like hunched, and then she's got
Different-
huge, beefy arms that are gray in color, and she's got super strength because the thief tries to steal from her, and she just beats him to high heck.
I am going to say that I don't know why that is, but I'm going to trust he had a really good reason.
Maybe it did. Maybe it was like the commentary with Tack being, pale and white-skinned until later. Like maybe her hands are always under her cloak, but I don't think it's true.
I think it is just for a joke.
It's a weird joke.
It is a weird joke.
It's a weird joke.
And not just that she's super strong, but like weird beefy arms. Like,
I don't think
they're
there's
a
a story.
different color.
And she's so shaky.
And she's so shaky and frail, and then I'm going to punch you in your face with my Popeye arms.
I don't think there's a story, Sam. I'm sorry.
There's totally a story.
Not really. I don't think he knew what he was talking about. I think he was like...
Oh, just
yeah,
to that. I think I went to the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, there's a story.
No, I meant in the whole thing, actually.
Oh, I mean, it was for a gag. But, I don't know.
No, I meant like the whole movie. I don't think there's...
You don't? Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think there's a story?
Not
There
really.
were 3 golden balls that were protecting the city.
Not
And we're gonna commit to calling them balls.
Every time someone refers to the success of the city, it's because of our balls.
Oh my gosh!
Because
Wait,
we got
wait.
such big balls.
Zigzag.
Our balls are bigger than anybody else's balls.
What would you have them called?
We got the biggest
Orbs?
balls.
Please.
Yes, because for some reason I'm a child, and every time balls came out, I'm like,
There were 2 lines that were just too. The
Balls.
thief had never seen anything like the golden balls.
they were so round.
And then Zigzag says
firm.
at one point, "Get those balls, keep them out of sight, bring them to me late tonight."
Put the balls in your mouth.
Yeah, I believe it because that was a couplet.
Suck on the balls. You guys, Zigzag speaks in couplets.
He does.
No one else speaks in couplets.
Except the very end when they make Matthew Broderick.
And Zigzag is the
narrator.
one, the one voice acting.
Original?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
they kept.
And it's so...
Well, you don't get rid
It's-
of
You can't get rid of
Vincent
it.
It's
Price.
Vincent Price, and weirdly, it was recorded in the 70s, and this was like the last released
Very
role
clear.
he
Sounds
ever
like it was
did.
recorded in the 70s.
Yes, that too. I wonder if the movie at one point was going to be in couplets, and so that was just the style at that time of the script, or is that
I think
how
it's
we
a
know
quirk
he's
you give your
evil?
sorcerer. Yeah.
That's a weird quirk. I think he's trying, like, does he think he's sing-talking, like Rick Saracen? But he's doing it really flatly.
How big of a cash-in was Fido? How hard was he trying to be Iago?
Yeah, no kidding.
That was, I feel like, oh no, of course he has a bird. A bird who is also supposed to be silent, but then every later production has internal wacky monologue.
We'll post a lad, and you can't have a silent bird. Doesn't. Can't do it.
That was unnecessary.
What about Flip, Bobby? Right? That's the hummingbird from Pocahontas.
That is the hummingbird. Yeah. Totally silent. Yeah.
I stand corrected. I'm like searching through my notes. I'm like, who's Flit?
I didn't write too much because I was just sitting back and enjoying the movie.
You're just taking it in.
I stopped after a while because all of my notes were just, the thief won't shut up.
There, for some reason, maybe I was conflating this with another movie too, but I remembered a lot more adult stuff. Like I remembered the super sexy princess, but I seem to remember a lot more adult stuff, and I don't know if we did watch in the uncobbled or the recobbled version. There's the one where the king has his the sultan or whatever has this thing that you do see it at one or maybe 2 points in the theatrical version. But there's this curtained thing next to him all the time, and it's revealed that his concubine is in there. We find in the and he's got his hands in there constantly, and he's probably flipping through a vagina. Or
in the theatrical one, he's got his hands in there.
At one point when they're watching the
match.
polo games, and I was wondering, wait, what are his hands doing in there? And then I found out later,
That's what he's doing.
tweaking nipples maybe, or
And she's making noises like,
but then there was a
because
line
there's that
where-
scene in the recobbled cut where the thief climbs all the way up the drain pipe and then gets up there and sees that like there's clearly sex noises coming from there.
And then, like, at one point, the Sultan or whatever has his hands near his daughter, and she goes, like, Dad, your hands smell like fish. And I made that part up.
Okay, I'm like, what?
That's no way early cut. That's way back. But you guys, this movie has a double rainbow
It does have.
during the polo scene.
What does it mean?
Double rainbows.
What does it mean?
So magical.
the polo ball following the thief. Oh my gosh, the polo ball following the thief was a fun bit. I like that a lot.
It was, yeah.
It defied physics a little
It
bit.
absolutely
started
defied
to bother
physics.
me.
The ball just started following him.
This movie defies physics
I guess
at
that's
every
fair.
chance.
Was that speaking of Fantasia? Was that a Fantasia joke when he pulls out the thief pulls out the wings and they play the Night on Bald Mountain music?
Oh, I made a...
And he kind of like flexes with his wings for a little bit, kind of like the Chernobog does in
And
Fantasia.
I called it Day on Palm Mountain. But, yeah, I don't know. I didn't even think it was a... But maybe.
That's all. I was just wondering if it was.
That's fair. And it worked somehow. He became capable of flight in that moment. Very cartoony stuff. It was the beggar
I haven't seen
belief.
Fantasia, so
What?
yeah, not my thing.
Even that segment? Big scary.
I'm hoping you see it and you don't like it, and then you could come back and say this movie is as good as Fantasia. So we could...
Disney's
Get that
making
soundbite.
that segment into a full length movie. I
The
think.
Night on Bald Mountain segment?
Yeah.
And the Ave Maria at the end?
No.
With the heartbeat, topless harpies?
How is that a whole movie?
I don't know.
Is
Because
he, like,
Disney's
an
out of control,
anti-hero?
like remaking all their movies.
Oh,
right
is it
now.
gonna be one of those live action nonsense
I don't know.
ones?
Yeah.
I'm
I don't want to say they're running out of ideas because they have good animated
No,
films.
they just know they can make money on these ideas.
And
I guess-
hilariously, that would be the second spin-off of Fantasia, because they did that Sorcerer's Apprentice movie with Nick Cage and
Which stayed really faithful to the source material.
yeah.
That's weird. I can't wait till we get the Dancing Hippo Ballet Academy movie where it's like center stage, but hippos and crocodiles.
I was annoyed by Fantasia 2000 because it was way shorter than the
never seen
original.
it.
Oh, it was good.
Is it good?
It was
I
good,
was annoyed by
but
It's on Netflix.
it was way shorter than the original, and one of these segments was from the original Fantasia.
Oh, really?
And it just felt like, come on, guys.
Did they reanimate it?
You're not even
No,
trying.
no, it was the exact same. Which, we're totally off the pot with The Thief and the Cobbler, but that's okay, because it's kind of thin, I think. But originally, Walt Disney had the
I'm trying to
idea...
make the Thief and the Cobbler sound better, Sam. It's not good, people.
Originally, Disney was going to come out, I don't know if it was every year or every several years, with a new Fantasia, they would swap out some of the segments. So, in the Fantasia 2000 kind of kept that tradition alive, the tradition that never happened, where he kept one of the they kept one of the segments.
Just
in,
happens to be the most popular segment, and
It's
everyone else
amazing.
has one of
Yeah,
them.
well, yeah, but let's talk more about the history of this movie.
That was a fun segue, though. I liked it.
That's good.
So Richard Williams won't even talk about this movie anymore?
No,
Right.
not at all.
Too much?
And I don't blame him, because how horrible to have your greatest vision that just was stolen away from you. That time they murdered your baby. Of course, you don't want to talk about it.
And we won't even talk about it in the documentary that came out, which is supposed to be very good.
I would love
like
to see
to
the
see it.
documentary, yeah, unfortunately.
And all, like, in just the trailer, the clips he has from the animators work on it, they all sound like they really believed in the project and like, they were there. And
Bum, bum,
Committed.
dum, 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 dum.
this is the
Boards.
Brigand song.
This is what happened when you don't use storyboards.
That song was preposterously like a Roald Dahl song. It felt like an Oompa Loompa song from the Brigands.
I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna say it, guys, I like that song.
It was, as we say, the best of three terrible songs.
It was earwormy.
No, I'm not going to let you have it. It's a terrible song.
No, it was
it's
a good
not
song.
good.
I will fight.
It was
that
like
song.
Danny Elfman Oompa Loompa songs.
Well, and then they just appear,
Which are not
like,
good.
again, not part of the story. Like, if you can say they're the story, they just kind of appear, and you're like, what are
The whole
those
trek
people
in the
even
desert
there?
is a little bit
It's strange.
not. I mean, they reach the witch who tells
The
them
witch,
to attack.
another part, weird.
Very strange. Especially when there was like a
See?
physical witch.
Not a through story.
In the
Not a
original
through
one, they had a
story.
real witch.
There's no through
Who
story.
they cut out, and I think it was because of her pendulous breasts.
Oh, no.
But
Oh,
in this
yeah.
one,
She was also, like, high on... She was using hallucinogenics,
okay,
too.
that's
Yeah.
But so in the theatrical cut, they decided to take her out and make her a floating eye, which is much less disturbing, apparently. But no, not really, because that's gross.
She, oh, crap, again.
It makes about as much sense as the original witch.
Oh,
Who's nuts?
you know what I did like, though? Okay, total possible action set piece they could have done. They get to where they need to go, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Maybe it's afternoon or early evening. They're like, "Oh, this is the place. Now we just have to wait until noon tomorrow to for it to do its thing." Next thing you know,
the light shines on the ruby and points out the secret entrance.
Next thing you know, it's noon tomorrow. It's like, why not just get there at noon? Why did you put this thing like, oh, action, okay.
And you're saying it's a really conspicuous, obvious, laser beam onto the doorway
that
someone else would have seen.
Like, anyone can see this who just happens to be walking by when the sun is at its highest point. Like, oh, hey, what's that laser beam pointing to? Let's go check it out.
I wonder if it's a secret door.
It's not like, where you're in a map room where you have to have a staff of a certain size with a certain... I'm referring to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Of course.
Where, it's got to be very... It's like, no, it's just like a giant finger saying, it's right here. Queen's right here, guys. Just go right here. Or the Queen. The Witch.
The Witch.
That was annoying.
I want to give this movie a little credit in... Obviously, Aladdin's an amazing movie. It's wonderful. But the princess has kind of a better drive to her.
I thought you were going to say the princess with a great body. I was going to totally agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely she does. But okay, who would you bang? Princess Yum Yum or Princess Jasmine?
Oh,
if you had to pick one.
That's a pickle. I like Yum Yum's eyes. She had really pretty eyes. Okay. And a rocket... No, they both had rocket bodies, though.
My point being that in Aladdin, even though Jasmine's a great character, her story is sort of, who am I going to marry? And in this movie, Princess Yum Yum's story is like, I'm a really smart person, and I'm going to take on this, I'm going to take on the Sultan and the King, and I'm going to take on this trek on myself to cross the dangerous desert by myself with a little bit of a crew and, save the kingdom.
There was something kind of cool. There was a dynamic I really liked in the recobbled cut where... so in the theatrical one, she has to beg her dad, let me, because I'm way smarter than everyone. And he's like, you can't because you're a woman, and she's like, no, but I can. And then so she talks him into it and over the course of one conversation. And then in the recobbled one, her dad just kind of turns to her and goes, you need to do this because I'm busy doing stuff. Can you do this?
Oh, really?
And she kind of just goes, okay, yeah, we'll go into the desert.
I'm busy fingering my concubine. So.
Well, that's cool too then.
Yeah, and I thought that was neat. And she's not, in the recobbled cut, she's not so much, her, I'm not saying it's a great motivation, but she's very much, her motivation is, I want to bang Tack, because, Tack's awesome. It's not so much...
He's all, pale and quiet.
Right.
He does those cobbler tricks that all women love.
She doesn't want to, it's not so much about escaping the kingdom. She's fine where she is,
Yeah, she's empowered and strong, and she's just trying to...
I like that in both versions, her dad does not make a deal with Zigzag to give her away.
That is nice.
Both times, in both of them, he just goes, no.
You're gross. Get away. Maybe if you weren't blue.
I like the way every time he takes a step, his shoes unroll. It's really cool. Back up.
I love the carpets.
Oh, yeah. Rolling. Yeah, that was fun. The rolling. Just going to tell our listener audience. He had a 20-foot carpet, and as he was walking, there were two 20-foot carpets, and the one in back, they would move the one in front, and and they'd roll it up. And that was, It was neat. It was really cool. You've been quiet for a while, Laura.
Oh, I'm just seething. I think you guys are all wrong.
No,
I don't know why you're saying anything good about this movie.
I'm distracted by the bad animation.
I do not get that at all. But to each his own.
I'll give you bad animation when we get to the army of Huns. One-Eyes that are going to attack the city. Then it gets a little crazy.
What?
And a little too banana pants. The giant, scary army coming to attack the city, and... The big main guy has shark teeth and...
Emperor Zurg from Toy Story.
Emperor Zurg from Toy Story, that's the one. And then he's surrounded
Emperor Zurg from Toy Story.
Oh, yeah.
And he's surrounded by green Valhallan big busty sex dolls.
Okay, that was kind of weird, but the animation is still amazing. That's when you get to this Rube Goldberg device of a war machine that's amazing.
He's got a Wild Wild West style war machine in the middle of the desert.
And it becomes like the longest Mr. Magoo thing ever, but it's wonderful.
Because he's got the gold balls on top of the machine. That means they're going to conquer the city.
He's so single-minded that he can't see all the dangers around him and the ingenious ways they make him get out of the danger. Oh, that was brilliant.
It was kind of fun to watch the thief climbing in this crumbling war machine that Tack somehow is able to destroy because of fate, I guess, and cleverness. But And
Yeah, to me, it wasn't more fate. It was more just being clever.
it was good luck, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it
Very
was
good luck.
also thousands of people, and more in the recobbled cut, but thousands of like the army dying in horrible ways inside this dying
Oh my
machine.
gosh.
Yeah, it was gruesome. It was bloody.
And
They
they
get
cut-
drowned out by lava.
They cut out most of it out for the Miramax, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was 1,000 screen deaths was something attributed to this movie. As just the machine is crumbling around them. And no one's running away. They're
And
all
lots of
waiting to be
fun
killed
ways.
for like a 20-minute segment.
There's a point where they're all falling over before the thing that is killing them gets to them too. I noticed this.
There was at least one thing, I don't remember what it was, that it was clearly designed to kill the troops. That was the only
All of
possible...
the stuff was pointed at them.
Yeah. Like, here's a giant iron that's going to flatten you. And, oh yeah, there was like
This is
one
too elaborate.
one thing that was designed to brush them into molten lava. Or something. Oh, that's great.
So it sounds like a kind of a
Cody, get the cat out of here. Talking to our producer, Cody.
It's Cody.
I'm making this joke for like the 3 people who know that we do this out of my living room.
Oh my gosh.
Our studio.
No, it sounds like kind of an ongoing debate that we're having here is so do the details matter? Does the plot matter? If this movie, as Richard Williams intended it, is this big artistic vision, do the thin plot details matter to the end product, making this a really great film?
I'd say he was going for the greatest animated film of all time, and if he was going for the greatest animation in a film of all time, no, it doesn't matter. If you're going for the greatest animated film, there's more than goes into a film, any film, than just the visuals. No, you need to have a good story, you need to have good acting, dialogue, whatever, So it does, it does matter. I forget the wording of your question, but yeah, it's the other stuff is important.
Yeah, I think so. There's the skill and the artistry make something salvageable in this, but if we are being brutally honest and judging a film, then yeah, it is not successful and it's too terribly flawed.
Lois nodding.
Yeah, I agree.
Having said that, I still will contend that it's totally worth watching.
I'm curious if he had ever finished this movie. I mean, even if he had infinite time, if he'd ever finished this movie, how it would have been received. Because we have an idea what his intended final product would have been, but I don't know if it would have been a movie that was that had universal critical acclaim.
I think that if he could have made the movie he wanted, let's say he did have time, and waited to produce it until the 2000s, this feels exactly the kind of movie that would be produced by, it's like the Triplets of Bellevue, or those kinds of films, like artistic, strange movies that are independent but received really well because of, more open expectations.
In fact, the gorilla-armed granny, she actually, I could see in the works, not necessarily maybe the Triplets of Belleville, and that, like, they kind of hearkened to her. I want to say that she reminded me of them, but,
really.
But since she's an older design,
And so if it had that, I think it could have been a really neat sleeper hit. But I think it was released in a time when Disney had its renaissance.
Yeah.
And
they were trying to Disneyfy it.
Yeah.
And the Disney Renaissance is a false comparison.
Yeah. And even if it came out as he wanted it to be, like, already we've moved on to, like, grand musicals and jewel tones, and, like, this is, this is too weird.
I wonder, though, because, like, if you go back, I liked the Pink Panther cartoons when I was a kid, but I wonder how they would hold up now if that kind of some of the slapsticky things like that would be liked, and make me say there's some audience, but I wonder. I don't know. Nobody will ever know.
No.
Sadly.
That's why I really like the tagline for the documentary, like, the greatest film never made. Like, we'll never know.
Like, he might be at peak critical. I don't want to say this is best possible scenario, because obviously that's a horrible thing to say, his life's work taken away from him. But, this is kind of a way for him to, I want to say that. No, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But
like cult glory
right now, this unreleased film is held up on such a pedestal by, this group of people who've latched onto it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the idea that the what might have been is so much greater than what would actually have been, just because we built it up so much. So
everyone feels the need to save this lost masterpiece.
And we have a clear villain we can point to now.
It's like the Lost in La Mancha. Like if you've seen the movie Lost in La Mancha, I don't know if you're familiar with that, right? Oh, it's Terry Gilliam tried to do the supposedly cursed Don Quixote. Like there's never been a really good movie made on it, and like a few times people have tried. It's they say it can't be made. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's a documentary about that, and it's really interesting. But at the same time, I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't know how good this movie would really be, but it's interesting. So,
one of the cats is gnawing on my fingers with her nose. She's like wanting me to pet her, but I'm not moving my hand, so she keeps nuzzling against it.
Not bothering anyone else. These cats going straight for the allergic one that wants nothing to do with them.
Cody has effectively neutralized one cat, but the other cat is now on Laura's lap.
Is it a bad idea that Cody is also a cat?
That was probably a mistake.
He says it's like hurting cats.
So let's talk about. Let's do Bobby and Laura discuss gender politics in the movie we just watched.
I got the eye of the tiger.
Susan B. Anthony was on the dollar coin for a reason.
Stop objectifying me.
Gloria Steinem.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Equal rights amendment was never ratified.
Rosie the Riveter.
Oh my God, Bobby, shut up.
Rosie the Robot.
Who's gonna make me my sandwich?
My body, my choice.
Blatant. Susan B. Anthony was taken off the dollar for a reason.
Beyonce.
Are you gonna talk about the uncobbled version, or are you gonna talk about the theatrical release that I watched?
I think that we could talk about both of them.
Well, let's only talk about the theatrical release since
Okay.
I didn't watch the other one. So, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I think the gender politics are pretty bad. I mean, as we talked about, I mean, Yum Yum has her own motivations, depending, I mean, to varying degrees, but, she's crazy objectified, and her only story kind of is being part of this romance. I don't know.
Yeah. What?
Her name is literally Yum Yum, no matter what version you watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she has potential to be something else, but as is, I think she's a very one-dimensional character. I mean, she has these moments where she talks about, going off and trying to save the kingdom, which is really interesting and, unusual for an animated movie to have the female lead say something like that. But then at the end, she's marrying Tack. So, I mean, then it kind of just, everything that it goes for, it just loses by the end.
Fair enough. So we all agree Princess Yum Yum.
The marriage is her idea, though. I mean, that's a thing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they actually like each other.
She's definitely the instigator of the relationship.
There's no pressure over who she's gonna marry, so it seems like it's not even like a rebellious choice. Like, this is exactly what she wants.
Yeah, she's not forcing to, but it's the idea of like, oh, she has to get married. They're not just together, but they have to be married.
I want to say, I think it is, I mean, I'm not defending the gender politics of this movie too much, but I think it is kind of remarkable that her lame-ass dad doesn't strike a deal behind her back for her hand in marriage to Zigzag. I was surprised, honestly, that
that was
immediately he goes, no.
I don't remember his reaction in the theatrical version, but in the recobbled one, he is really upset that his daughter's in danger. So it would seem out of character if he were to have struck some sort of a deal like that, because he really cares about it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But even to save the kingdom, Zigzag comes saying, like, I can do sorcery and get rid of this army if you give me your daughter.
Because he's crazy paranoid about the kingdom.
So we can all...
He's lost his balls, I mean.
Yeah.
Balls. King's got no balls.
So we agree, Princess Yum Yum's hot. And that's where we're going to go with this. Let's do our newest segment, IDOBM IMDb Trivia TM.
Hooray!
So yeah, Lauren, damn it.
Hey, Laura's the blonde one.
This is a podcast. I don't see anyone. This is all an auditory thing. Yeah, there's a lot of trivia to go with this movie, and we discussed a lot of it, but what else have you got?
I gotta be honest, I was so excited I dropped a lot of my knowledge during the episode.
That's okay.
I feel horribly ashamed. I need to work better on my segment. You guys do such amazing work.
Are you stalling right now?
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to pull up IMDb. And yo, guys, Wes Craven died.
What?
Oh, that's new news.
Oh, man. If I have a dream of him tonight, I'm going to freak out. comes with laser.
What was his last movie?
He did The Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
That was the joke, right?
That was the joke. It was poorly sold. I didn't know he died. I didn't have time to come
I
up
guess
with
he
a
had
decent...
brain cancer.
Oh, really?
Sad.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So that's my IMDb trivia for this segment.
Oh.
You
No, I was going to, unfortunately, just to fill the silence, I was going to say, yeah, he made a lot of fun movies. He made a lot of bad movies, too.
I wonder, are there any Wes Craven movies we would do?
Scream?
That's
Scream's a good movie.
If anyone liked any of the sequels, that's
I don't
doable.
like that movie.
What was his last movie? I'm actually like trying to look it up.
I can't remember.
We're having some good tangents.
He didn't do the new Nightmare on Elm Street, did he? The one with, what's his name?
Mm-mm. Scream 4, I think, was his last movie. Oh, wait, did he direct it? Yeah, he did.
Oh boy. So that's all. So
I feel terrible. I'm
okay.
gonna keep some more stuff closer to my chest in the next episode.
no, it's okay. It's okay. We can whatever. Now, let's talk about the movie we wish we'd seen.
Ugh, this movie is crap. I could write a better movie in my sleep.
And now, IDOBM presents the movie we wish we'd seen.
I think we can all agree that his completion of this would be a movie we wish we'd seen. Well, maybe not Laura. Laura doesn't give it.
I was thinking Aladdin, actually. Oh, I saw that. So actually I saw that movie.
Now, as a reminder, this is a movie where we're taking an aspect of this movie, not a completely different movie we wish we'd seen. So,
but yes, it would be very nice to see his completion because it seemed like he had something going. But also, on the same hand, he feels like he's like all over the place and didn't have one clear path like to completion. So I don't know if we would ever have seen that the end goal.
That's fair. We might not have. But okay, so
I was just thinking, doesn't the genie pull the screen away at the end of Aladdin?
Yes.
Too?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot, but that's really because they worked on this from 1968 on. It really makes you wonder who cribbed from which one on any given thing.
If it was stealing, if it was a coincidence, if it was an unintended copy.
So, taking for granted, we'd like to see the imagined version. What aspect of this movie would you like to see? Let's start with Lauren.
I want Richard Williams to give up some of his power and team with like a Jeffrey Katzenberg or Jocelyn Lasseter, like someone with a really strong story sense to be able to turn him away and say like, no, you've got a great artistic vision, but here's how we make the story stronger. Because the story's bananas, and I think he still, even if he had freedom to make his version, would still need help.
What about you, Laura?
I want less of the tangential stories going on. I want more of like a singular story. So either maybe about the princess. I'm always about strong female leads. Because Cobbler is just not that interesting to me. Like I never felt that he was that interesting of a character. Neither is a thief. So I would say something about Princess Yum Yum, just like making her that, and also changing her name, please. Yum Yum.
How about you, Bobby?
I agree 1,000 times with Lauren. I think that I would love to see the original vision with more direction. Probably would have finished it a couple decades sooner
Someone
too.
to keep him honest and on track.
And as for me, I would like to get more into the thief's head. I just don't. I want to hear his
Even
voice
more.
some more. I want to hear what this guy is on his mind at all time. No,
Even when he's not in the scene, we can still hear him.
exactly. No. Obviously, I would like the pornographic version of Yum Yum doing whatever. And I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
You're disgusting.
No, I'd like to see the exact version you guys mentioned. Yeah, his animation is fantastic. His storytelling, maybe not quite so much. So if he had some help in that regard, we really could be onto something. So, have I changed your mind? Do you guys love this movie now?
It's tricky because, look, again, I think the animation is gorgeous. I think this is the movie we watched. I think is a terrible movie. It's like unredeemable in parts. Really, really bad. But I think it's an interesting story and worth watching with like a huge asterisk next to it, you know. But I definitely think, you know, hunt down the recobbled cut, watch that. Persistence of Vision, the documentary is really interesting. Or it sounds really interesting. I haven't seen it, but like I intend to watch it.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I'll listen to these other podcasts, like your how did this get made, your flop houses, and some of their fans just send them random things. If anyone had a Persistence of Vision, they could totally send it to us. That would be fantastic. But I'm just happy people listen. So now, Laura, you didn't like this movie at all. So
no, I appreciate what's his name, John Williams.
Richard Williams.
Yeah. Richard Williams. Sorry, I knew John Williams is someone else.
Not Trump.
We appreciate him too.
Richard Williams. I appreciate his vision being something that did not translate well to the theatrical release, in my opinion. So I think that maybe he had something there, but it just no. I don't know. I did not like it.
what do you think about John Williams now, his later work? This is for everyone. Yeah. Yeah, the composer. Because I've heard people saying that, like, oh, yeah, he's just phones it in. I'm like, I don't know.
What was the last movie that he did?
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Harry Potter Sticking With Me is like the most recent thing I really enjoyed and was singular.
I kind of liked when other people took over that score, though.
I'm wondering how much people that he does.
When everyone took over those movies. Are you kidding?
I ended up Googling John Awakens. Because I was thinking he's doing Force Awakens. I'm
wondering how much he, that people are crapping on him, not necessarily because he is phoning it in or he's whatever, but just because the times have changed and he's still doing the big brassy things with themes. And like, if you look at most contemporary movies, superheroes movies, they don't have a theme. Do they think he's not good, or do they say like, where are your themes, dude? We used to love your themes. Like, no one does themes anymore. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
Oh, he did Attack of the Clones. That was a really bad score.
What?
That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, it was bad.
The score was bad?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, and so was the movie.
Yeah.
What did you think about episode 2's score? Oh, that was episode 2.
Episode 2. No, it's the worst. It's really bad.
Aren't they all terrible?
No.
Like, the score, I mean,
no.
like, come on. In the prequels, like, how could you even tell? How could you even tell the score was bad?
Episode 1.
First of all,
okay. I don't want to reawaken episode 1 here, Lauren. Episode 1 had a good score, okay? The only good thing about this movie.
What is it? The
Duel of Fates.
Duel of
So
Fates
good.
was fantastic. Oh, okay. And I think this is a IDOBM blast from the past.
I'm sure.
Because we talked about this
new segment.
I think it's very fitting of Thief and the Cobbler that this is our most tangent-heavy, directionless episode where we're just going with whatever the hell.
Yeah, we're just going to have a new segment here where we do something that doesn't have any consequence to the ultimate episode.
You can't see it, but Laura's been stealing shit the whole time.
And muttering things under her breath.
This is going to go with me to Disneyland.
Oh my god, he made that joke!
Yeah. Which, if that came out today, that would have been perfect, because he said something like, yeah, this is going to get me into Disneyland. That would maybe be a good commentary on how freaking expensive it is to go to Disneyland now.
But this was the 90s, and if you were like SoCal resident, you had like $20 tickets.
Well, he was from Baghdad, so he was paying full price.
Disney owned Miramax, or owns Miramax, right?
Yeah, that's what there is some...
Wow.
Does Miramax still exist anymore? Did they fold?
I don't know.
The Weinsteins left Miramax, but I don't know if Miramax still exists.
I feel like I thought Miramax was dead, but then I saw their name on something recently.
Yeah. Some listener, probably Matt Cave, is going, no, this is what happened, guys.
This segment is pointless.
Thanks, Matt, if you're listening. Hi.
We didn't bring up, by the way, that the movie within the first minute name drops Aladdin, just so you're like, no, seriously, if you like Aladdin, stay.
This thing.
Oh, yeah. So Laura, how about you? Lauren, Jesus. I never have this problem. I never have this problem.
You went one too many.
You've never had this problem. Au contraire.
This has never happened to me before. No, I never have this problem when Laura is not here.
It's okay. It happens to a lot of guys.
I'm just going to call you my wife.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good joke, by the way, before I step on that. It's never happened to me. Okay. How about you?
Okay. It's been mostly covered, but this is a movie that's absolutely saved by having the cult fandom that wants to resurrect it from the trash pile, and it's still got so much that's worth it. And I would tell people to go see the recobbled version, go with that and see the hidden gems that are in this film. But I could never recommend The Thief and the Cobbler to anyone, because they'd look at me with hate in their eyes saying, why did I tell them to watch this?
Not even for context, do you think? I mean, just to, how did this go wrong?
Maybe later, like watch 10 minutes just to know bananas.
Yeah, I'm going to stand by what I said. I'm definitely going to say, if you're at all interested in the story, you have to watch, the story of the production.
Yeah, okay.
You have to watch the movie. And if you're just kind of curious about it at all, yeah, go watch the Cobbler version. But
I think you could get through like 10 minutes of each version and realize how different and how terrible. Like once you get to your first song, you're like, oh, I see. This one is awful.
And I think it's important to watch that for contrast the song.
Yeah.
Just the shoddy animation. So, guys, let's go do No Defense Needed, which is what I'm tentatively calling this segment, which I forgot to do last time. Which is we just talk about something that we're into right now that we don't really need to defend. It's just good. Just good, period. How about you, Laura? What have you been into lately?
I've been into Fitbit, which is not movie related.
That's okay.
It's really fun. I definitely recommend spending the money on one. Bobby got it for me. We celebrated 5 years recently, so that was his gift to me. So he thought I was too fat. So
yeah, that is a loaded gift.
I'm kidding. No, I mentioned I wanted one, and he remembered. So I'm very happy with it, and I've been having a lot of fun.
Lauren, what have you been into?
I hate you because I don't know.
You
Cut that part.
We can skip you for a moment.
Okay,
Come back
skip
to
me for a moment.
you want to go, Bobby?
Yeah. I rewatched one movie, and for the first time I watched one of Bobcat Goldthwait's movies. Have you ever watched like any of his directorial movies?
Yeah.
I watched World's Greatest Dad, which I'd watched before, and it's like really great. And then I just watched Sleeping Dogs Lie, which also is really, that movie starts with a girl giving a dog a blowjob, but
oh wow,
it ends up being like a really sweet movie.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I recommend that.
I really love Latter Day Bobcat. Like now that he's dropped the character and he's himself. Like, he's so fascinating.
Does he even go by Bobcat, or is it just Bob Goldthwait?
He goes by Bobcat.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got a documentary out right now that I kind of want to watch. I want to watch like all of his movies now. His director movies. Yeah.
And I've been watching this little known show. It's kind of a sleeper thing.
Yeah, that was the thing I thought of. Okay, you go.
It takes place in this place called Westeros. And everyone that you love will be killed in it. I started watching Game of Thrones. I am really, really enjoying it, even though, I'm really just pissed off about some of the things happening. I will give you no spoilers because I'm not like that, but about just I wonder if the microphone will pick up that whispering.
Oh, sorry, we were just talking tangential
it's okay,
stuff, so we don't want to...
We're doing all the tangential stuff on the microphone, guys. No, but I'm about a third of the way through season 4 when we just started like a little bit more than a month ago. I'm not much of a binger, but I'm really working my way through this, and I liked it a lot. Let's see, I watched Mission Impossible, and the new one, the Rogue Nation, and The Gift. Both of those I thought were good, but they're, I don't know. They're really good. What am I saying? I'm just kind of good at nitpicking about them, but they're not perfect. But I enjoy them. Now, you can repeat something I said. So
okay. I was thinking so you can go through them, but I realized I do have one that I'm like way into right now, even though it's 2 months since they won the Tony. I can't give enough praise and love to Fun Home the musical, based on the Alison Bechdel memoir. It is an incredible show. I was lucky enough to see a bootleg on YouTube before it was taken down a day later, and it's just amazing.
Does it pass the Bechdel test?
It does.
Ooh, that's good. So, okay, cool. So our listeners have a lot of things they can view and wear now. Yeah, so I guess that's the show, guys. How do you feel? How's it feel? You got through another one.
Good. Do you need to plug anything?
Yes. Thank you. Does anyone else need to plug anything?
Yeah, my phone is running out of battery.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, where can we find that?
Is
that on Twitter?
We plug in phones. My improv show, my improv troupe, The Upperclassmen, we are having our annual drunk show which is when we get drunk and we do bad improv. And I only say bad improv because we will be drunk. It'll actually be fun. It'll be very fun, very funny. The show is October 18th at the Long Beach Playhouse. Tickets are $10 at the door. If you hit me up or any of the other upperclassmen, you will pay only $5. And, I mean, we're going to be getting drunk on stage, guys. What more do you need to know? Anyone else plugging? Aside from things in? Anyone? So yeah, as usual, follow us on Facebook. We're in Defense of Bad Movies. Follow us on Twitter.
Please follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, at IDOBM Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Email us at indefenseofbadmovies@gmail.com. Yeah, all those usual things. And until we meet again, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye. Trump 2016.
How dare you? Get out. Get out.
Yikes.
He's no more.
Stop giving him attention, Bobby.
You are what's wrong with America.
Dun, 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 dun.